Amid growing concern worldwide about the situation in Ukraine, President Macron has been holding talks in Moscow with President Putin. The French president said he hoped discussions would begin a process of de-escalation and reduce the possibility of a Russian invasion. But today, the British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace announced a further 350 British troops will be sent to Poland in the spirit of solidarity with neighbouring Ukraine. There are estimated to be 100,000 Russian troops deployed close to Ukraine's border. Moscow denies that it's planning to invade, but it's warned repeatedly that if Ukraine is allowed to join NATO, that's the military alliance dominated by the US, it will pose a real threat to Russian security. Our Moscow correspondent, Steve Rosenberg, has the latest.
From one president to another, warm words.
How are you? Fine, just fine. How are you?
But there'd be no cosy chat. Socially distant summits is how the Kremlin likes it. Emmanuel, I'm so pleased to see you, said Vladimir Putin. Behind the smiles, though, serious concerns. What worries the West is Moscow's muscle flexing near Ukraine. Like these war games involving Russia and Belarus, and the Russian troops massed near Ukraine's border. What worries Moscow is NATO. It's demanding an end to NATO enlargement to the east.
Une réponse utile.
We need a response that avoids war for Russia and Europe, said President Macron, and build bricks of trust, stability and visibility. Just having the French president in town is being seen here as a diplomatic success for the Kremlin.
There's a very long but very colourful Russian word, "Nie ruka pожатный." It means quite literally, no one wants to shake your hand. You're like a pariah. After Russia's annexation of Crimea 8 years ago, Vladimir Putin was "Nie ruka pожатный." World leaders avoided him like the plague. Now they're queuing up to meet him. Today it was President Macron. In a week or so, it'll be the German Chancellor. And the West is willing to discuss Russia's security concerns. That's why Moscow believes that coercive diplomacy is working.
But what if diplomacy fails? America has sent these troops to Poland to protect NATO's eastern flank in case of a Russian military escalation in Ukraine. And to signal transatlantic solidarity, Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz flew to Washington for talks on the crisis with President Biden.
If Russia makes a choice to further invade Ukraine, we are jointly ready and all of NATO is ready.
Moscow insists that it is the victim here, that Russia is a besieged fortress, threatened by America, by NATO, by a Ukraine hostile to Moscow. What the West is struggling to work out is, if diplomacy ends, what will Russia do next? Steve Rosenberg, BBC News, Moscow.
Well, let's go live to Washington and talk to our North America editor, Sarah Smith, who's at the White House. These two sets of high-level talks today, Sarah, do you detect that they're giving any hope for a de-escalation?
Well, there is still talk of a search for a diplomatic solution to this crisis, but President Biden today was very much warning Vladimir Putin of what the consequences would be of taking any military action against Ukraine, saying it would be a giant mistake and would provoke the most severe economic sanctions ever imposed, including the stopping of Nord Stream 2, a major gas pipeline between Russia and Germany. And as he was standing beside the German Chancellor, he wanted to stress that there would be a united Western response. It was rather surprising at that press conference to hear the President advising US citizens in Ukraine to leave because he said he wouldn't want to see them getting caught in the crossfire. And this while the White House do say that they are still searching for a diplomatic solution and believe that one can be found. There are many warnings here of just how dire the consequences could be if Russia does take military action, but asked at the very end of the press conference if there was still an off-ramp for Vladimir Putin. In other words, if a diplomatic solution could be found, President Biden said very emphatically the answer to that is yes.
Sarah, many thanks again. Sarah Smith, our North America editor at the White House.